All right, so with that, we'll switch to Ken's. Now, Ken has kept us all in the dark as far as where he wants to go. It's still Ken's keeper, still TBD. What's on your mind?
Could you I'm going to take the screen, Mark, if that's okay.
Okay, I'm switching over to you.
All right, I have it. And I'm going to start by showing you a little bit about my process and telling you a little bit of a story. I have a sister who's about 6 years younger than I am, and who really was petrified in 2007, 2008 during that time period, and converted everything that she had in all of her retirement accounts, all of her investments, converted all to fixed income and to cash. She stayed there until about 6 months ago, when I finally convinced her that this Robertson character knew a little bit about what he was doing, and that if she was to explore manifest investing, I'd be glad to help her put a portfolio together, and we could slowly take some of her cash and begin investing in the market. Well, first of all, she thinks Mark's a god right now, because in the last 6 months she's just made a lot of money in her stock portfolio. But more importantly than that, we've been doing an awful lot of work in screening, looking for individual stocks to add to a portfolio. And she's a little bit on the conservative side, as am I. And what we were both kind of struck with as we did all the screening was the number of large, stable tech companies that kept appearing on our short lists of 25 or 30 stocks, but the number of tech companies that kept appearing with what we thought were significantly high potential returns. So when Mark says it's time to put a stock together for the Roundtable, I referenced that in my mind, and I went back to some of the lists that Nancy and I were putting together, and I pulled off those lists these 6 stocks. This is where I began my process for the Roundtable for today. I had narrowed my choices. I decided I was going to ask us to put another tech stock into the portfolio, and I narrowed my choices to these 6. 5 of them really, really large, mega cap in some cases, tech companies, all of them extremely well-known names. The only name on this list that comes out of here that you might not be aware of is F5 Networks. F5 is a medium-sized company. I really, really like the technology that F5 deals in. I know that they get a lot of press about cloud computing, but that's not where they made their money. F5 makes their money really in managing networks and keeping traffic flowing on networks. They're not a competitor to Cisco. They're a complement to the kind of things that Cisco does. And if you've never investigated this particular company before, it's kind of a sweet-looking SSG, and it's a very interesting kind of company, and it's right in that spot that Cy was talking about this morning, right in that good, solid, medium-sized company spot that seems to really outperform almost anything else we can look at over years and over decades, in fact. So I have these 6 stocks on the list here, and frankly, I could have flipped a coin and chosen any of them to add to our portfolio today. I kind of liked the pullback yesterday, and I know that it doesn't make some of you feel real comfortable, but I wouldn't even mind seeing the market pull back another 8 or 10% in the next month or so and give me an opportunity to put some of my cash to work. I've been raising cash in the last 3 or 4 months. As I noticed my par moving down into single digits, I've been raising a little bit of cash, taking some profits, and getting ready for a time to purchase. I related to Mark before we started the Roundtable today that I did some purchasing yesterday for the first time in, maybe 2 or 3 months. I was very pleased with my purchases yesterday. And the pick that I'm going to make for today, it's almost a coin flick, but since it's already in the portfolio, and since we don't need to have 100 different names in the portfolio, my pick is going to be to add to the Cisco that we had up here yesterday. It came down between Cisco and the stock that I have on the screen right now in my toolkit. The stock on the screen right now is Oracle, and my stock club is in love with Oracle. It's a huge portion of our portfolio. By huge, I mean maybe 10 or 11% of our portfolio right now. And we've just had a wonderful, wonderful run on this software stock. We've just dipped our toe into the water on this stock here, on Cisco. And if you remember, we had a nice presentation on Cisco just last month. So I'm going to ask us to double down on Cisco. I still think it's about the same price as it was a month ago. I don't think anything has materially changed in the company. I did notice that even though our metrics on management over here say down, I'm reasonably convinced that we might have, well, that's a stupid sentence, isn't it? Reasonably convinced that we might have. I think we might have bottomed out as far as margin is concerned. I'm looking at quarter-by-quarter margins down here, and I noticed that we hit lows back at the depths of the recession back here during 2009, and we seem to have moved up and then down just a tad, and I'm kind of hoping that we're making a bottoming process right here and that margins are going the other way. I noticed that in the trailing 12 months margins, and that's this column right here, we also seem to have maybe made a place where we've hit bottom. It looks to me like the trailing 12 months bottoms occurred at the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, and now we're moving to a place more in the right direction, more back up again. So I'm going to add Cisco. I don't have much else to say about my choice, except that right now I think it's a particularly good stock that has been undervalued by the market. It's a huge stock. If you check out its sales, you'll note that it's selling $10 billion worth of goods plus every quarter. So we're looking at one of those mega caps right there. High quality, high name recognition, little tiny bit of a dividend to make it sweet. So that's my choice for this month, and I'll turn it back to Mark, or I'll take questions.
Thanks, Ken. I don't see any questions right now. You might check yourself here. I'll switch the screen back to me. And we'll go ahead and add a couple slides on from Ken's SSG into the presentation when we actually put it up at in the manifest forum. And I thought we'd give, since there are so many people here from the mid-Michigan or mid-Michigan area and Ohio and Indiana, thought you might want to push your conference, Ken, our conference.
Absolutely. Our Better Investing Regional Conference, I know I'm looking at the attendee list, and we're up over 60 attendees now, and I'm counting to myself, and my wife is counting over my shoulder. We have about 35 of you from the mid-Michigan, Northwest Ohio, Northwest Indiana area. We'd love to see you in Ann Arbor on March 25th and March 26th. I'll tell you, this should be the best conference in the last couple of years. We had no problems finding great sponsors. For the first time ever, PepsiCo is going to be presenting at a Better Investing conference. We'll have Pepsi there to talk to. General Electric's going to be presenting. We have some very interesting companies that you might never have heard of before. A company called DRI that makes signs for transportation systems. That sounds a little bit dry. Get it? DRI? Dry. Never mind. Sounds a little bit dry, but the presentation is actually extremely interesting, and the company itself presents a really interesting SSG, interesting enough that it actually might be something that somebody would want to invest in. So I'm hoping we can see a lot of you there. If you need information, go to the Mid-Michigan page on the Better Investing website, and you'll find a place where you can register for the event, or you'll find a registration form that you can fill out the old-fashioned way and send in with a check. Thanks for the opportunity, Mark.